Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to take a look at the Rugged Obsidian 45, a 45 caliber suppressor for your pistol. Now, full disclosure, I was sent this suppressor free of charge from Rugged to use on photos and video for Cabot guns on our Apocalypse, our kind of top of the line flagship pistol, Damascus steel, very cool gun. But that does not affect my opinion of this suppressor here. I have quite a few different cans, if you will, and quite a few different pistol cans. This one's unique in a few different ways, but it did not affect my opinion of it. If I have a product that I don't like, I just won't talk about it on this channel because it's just the way you need to go about doing business in the gun industry. So getting into it, I'll give you the basic specs. I know people like specs, even though you can just go to the website. I'm going to read them off the website. So if you want to skip ahead to the actual review, it'll be down below. The Obsidian 45 has a diameter of 1.37 inches, a length in standard configuration 8.6 inches, and in the short configuration 6.7. We'll talk about that in a second. In the short configuration, it is 10.7 ounces, and the long configuration, it is 12.8 ounces. The baffles are made from 17.4 stainless steel. The tube is hard coat anodized aluminum. The mount, so the base part down here, is also 17.4 stainless steel, and the finish is in Cerakote, either black or FDE. So getting into this suppressor, why do I like it? I really enjoy shooting 45 ACP suppressed because it is a subsonic round. It is not as quiet as the movies would lead you to believe. Like if you watch any James Bond movie, even though he was shooting, typically pistols that are 32 ACP in James Bond videos or movies, it's not that quiet. But I'll put in some, video here of how quiet it is. Now, of course, actually capturing how guns sound on camera and in audio is very difficult to do, but overall, it's a quiet suppressor on 45. Some things that I really like about it is the modularity, the ability to go from the long configuration to the short. It's actually pretty simple and kind of ingenious. So there is an end cap that you need to take off here. Now, what's nice about how they designed the end cap is you can take any piston or booster assembly that's a Psycho capable, Silencer Co capable booster, and the little claws down here actually fit into the end of the suppressor, and that's how you can start to unthread the end cap if you're going to shorten it. So just get that going. It's a lot of threads, and there you go. Now on the end of this, there's actually another baffle stack that's of that 17.4 stainless steel that you can take out. Makes it nice for cleaning, and then I can go ahead and remove the extension here. And if you want to, you can see the full baffle stack in here that's keyed, and it does have a little tab to make sure that the keyhole lines up in there. And then if I want to put the end cap back on, just get the threads lined up, keep on going, and then I can use the piston or booster, whatever you want to call it, to thread the end cap back on, and now you're in the short configuration. I have shot this both long and short. I prefer the short configuration just because when I'm shooting 1911 specifically, having all this extra weight out at the end of your gun does put a good amount of stress on your barrel, and not really the link, but theoretically it could put some extra stress on the barrel link. So I want to have as little weight as possible if I'm going to be shooting high round counts on 45 ACP 1911. Now, I did test this on quite a few other guns. I've tested on 9mm. I did it on a Rossi 92, 357, 38 special. There are barrel length limitations for calibers like 38 special and 357. I believe it's 12 inches minimum barrel length to use those. And also they recommend putting a spacer. I'll talk about this piston back here in a second. They recommend they have a fixed barrel spacer that you put in that stops the booster assembly from moving when you shoot like 300 blackout, if you're to use this for 300 blackout, 38 special, 357, or any of those high pressure rounds. because according to them, it can actually damage the booster assembly if you shoot those high pressure rounds without that spacer. I did it. It was okay. Don't recommend doing it, as a regular thing, but it performed very, very well in every single caliber and pistol that I've shot it with. One thing to understand, though, is when you get down to this other end, this piston slash booster assembly, this is something that does need to be maintained specifically for tilt barrel guns. So a tilt barrel gun is going to be anything that uses a single tilting point as the gun's cycling, so the barrel can go down and feed a new round into the chamber. It's John Browning's design. One of the designs that was patented in February 14th, 1911 is that single point tilt barrel design. So once you pull off the end of this end cap here, you can see how this booster assembly works. And it has a spring coiled around the piston or booster. This is what actually threads onto the end of your pistol. It comes with one booster that is made specifically for the 45 caliber standard thread pitch, which is 578 by 28. And what's really nice, though, it's a 17.4 stainless steel, and it is not slotted like if you look at the Silencer Co. boosters. I have one right here. It has little slots around the edge. It is not slotted, and per Rugged, that is to help trap the escaping gases so that you don't get as much gas blowback in your face. I'm sure it does do that a little bit. I didn't notice any big difference between this in that gas blowback category through the end of the suppressor. Just understand that when you shoot suppressed handguns, the barrel short, you're going to get a lot of crap that comes right back out through that ejection port. And if you have a red dot, you're going to be cleaning your red dot window pretty regularly. But the finish on this is very nice. The booster works very well. You do want to keep this clean along with your spring, because if this gets jammed up with too much carbon and doesn't function, your pistol is not going to function very well. But I've tested it with the 578 by 28 that it came with on 45 ACP, and I also used a 1/2 by 28 for my 9mm, my 38 Special, 357, the other calibers that I tested it on. They have many other attachments that you can put on the end here, tri-lug, fixed, like a fixed in multiple different thread pitches. So it is a pretty capable suppressor. However, it's really mainly for pistols. So if you wanted to get something for 300 blackout, this really isn't something that I would get to use for 300 blackout. Specifically, there's other suppressors, but as far as a pistol can, it is very cool. One last thing to note is that the serialization and all of the information that makes it a suppressor is down at the base here, which is 17.4 stainless steel, where the rest of the tube itself is aluminum. What that means is if you were to have a baffle strike, or God forbid, a round actually goes out and damages the end of the tube, this can be replaced. The tube can be replaced without having to replace the whole suppressor and go through the entire process of getting your unconstitutional tax stamp, because all the serialization, what's actually considered the suppressor, is this part, this base part down here. And actually the last thing that I want to talk about is just the way it looks. It is very cool. They took some extra time to machine the base with some really nice tool paths that just make it visually interesting. And as an extra benefit, at one point they gave me some shot glasses that are machined out of the same material and actually match the base, which is pretty cool. So hats off to the guys and gals over at Rugged. They are good people. They make a very good suppressor, and if you're looking for a 45 caliber pistol suppressor, this is definitely a good option for you to pick up.